It's Alec here. So I'm going to show you how to pivot some cool stuff out of your Pastel database, and specifically around working capital. So there's two things in the Pastel environment that really I feel you need to be connected with extremely well, especially when you manage a business on a day-to-day level, and that's called sales orders and it's called purchase orders. Okay, so sales orders are the orders that have, it's actually quotations that have been accepted. So that's what you need to say to your team. Today, I need to focus on my sales orders. So if I get that out the door, I can invoice. Okay. And the other one is called purchase orders. Okay. So that would be what purchase orders are actually are live and need to come in. Or from a sales order perspective, what have I not yet placed on order? And if I haven't yet placed it on order, I obviously need to now go and issue the purchase order. So I want to see those gaps. Okay. So firstly, this is a demo database, and I'm going to go in the app and I'm going to go to the dashboard environment first. So here in the dashboard environment, on the left-hand side here, there's something called, we actually call it the steering wheel. Okay, so it drives quotations. It shows you I've got quotes open, and then I've got sales orders and some purchase orders here, and then I've got sales here. So it pushes from quotes, it goes into my ordering environment, sales orders. So remember, you always have to be driven by a sales environment. So that's why sales orders are first, and then purchase orders. Purchase orders should only be issued to the extent that I've got sales, right? Okay, so now I can actually go and manage it. All right, so how do I now do this? Okay, I can now see I've got open sales orders here. What do I need to get out the door? And I want to see those gaps. So let's have a look. Okay, firstly, I'm going to go into my transaction insight. I'm going to go to sales order details. And here's everything that actually tells me, currently what's open in this environment. So there's actually a lot of sales orders. And if I click here at the top and I actually select purchase orders and sales orders, now I got one environment that I can actually start comparing the stuff with. Okay, so this is where BI gets quite cool, and to look at data. So firstly, I'm going to select that actually now brings up everything in this database that's open, and I'm going to now double click here on the bottom component. Okay, so now it actually drills down to all the transactions on a detailed level. Okay, so I can now say, well, I've got some, a lot of data here. What is this? This is actually the transactional data in your Pastel database that builds up this whole, everything that actually was captured by your people in Pastel. So there's 2,500 lines of data here. Very nice and quick and fast. Okay, so now I need to actually start pivoting it. Pivoting is amazing, and it helps you get control of that data, because you as a person can't work through the 2,500 lines, right? We need to use the computer to process that, and we need to use our brains to look at what the computer is giving back to us. Okay, so now I'm going to export this into a separate environment. This now creates this file into a separate environment, and now I can actually start pivoting it. So I've got a shortcut key called Alt-6. It ultimately, it sits here in my customized little, quick access tab here at the top. And now it just auto selects the full environment. Okay, so there's a few things about pivot you need to understand. Firstly, you need to understand if it's in a data table, it is one body of data. So it's nice. I don't have to go and select anything. It's already pre-populated that whole table for me because it's in table format. And secondly, always know your field names. Okay, so they now pop up here. What is my purpose? Okay, I want to see what do I need to order and actually what is open. Okay, so now firstly what I'm going to do is I know now, for instance, I want to see E-types. Okay, so E-type is my actual document type description. I'm sorry, see, know your fields, document type. So now document type, what comes up here at the top? Oh, I've got copy purchase orders and copy sales orders. The reason why Pastel actually calls this copy, it means it's an open document. Remember, you've got unbatched stuff. Have you ever heard of that? Unbatched invoice. People say like, where's my invoice? Revenue is not there. Then they go, oh no, it's still an open batch. That Pastel would refer to as a copy, versus if it's called an invoice, it means it's been processed. Okay, so so now first of all, I want to place in the column so I can now see it separately. What do I want to do next? I want to actually say, well, give me my item description. Now, we've actually got a field called standard item description. Quite nice, because if I pop that in here, I immediately have the ability to see the standard item description. Why is that important? You know what? When you go in Pastel and you start typing different descriptions in your invoice or in your sales order, it's not generic and it's not easy to collate or actually to bring it together. So you want to bring everything together. Let's say, for instance, this is a demo database based on my fitness business, but so for instance, columns, we do gym columns. So those gym columns, now imagine how we did that, and sometimes we type in, let's say, column gray, and sometimes we just type in column. In a data set, if we just use the normal description, it's actually not going to combine the two for me. And to do it on item code level is also quite complicated, because that's a very, non-human kind of way to look at an item. So you want to use the description, but the standard item description that sits in the master file environment, that's where it's quite nice to collate the lot. And you now can read it, like boxing bag arm. Okay, for me as the user, that makes sense. I know what I'm looking at. Aerobic mat. I know what that is. Okay, so anyway, now what I want to do is I want to actually go and say, but what do I have that is open and that needs to get out the door? And obviously, what do I not have that needs to be ordered? So I'm going to add here what I call quantity. I'm going to look up all the quantity. So now here's quantity coming up here for various fields. So we've got quantity as a norm, and then we've got quantity in for goods, and services quantity. So remember, there's two types of items. There's services and goods. So I just want to see all quantities. Okay, so firstly, now it pushes here for me. It says, well, okay, here's, you've got so many of this item in your purchase orders and so many in your sales orders. So you actually can start comparing them. Okay, so now here, for instance, look at this. Just by the way, the plus here tells me that it is a sale. It is something that we need to now sell to somebody. The minus here is when I'm going to purchase it. So you can see here, for instance, we got 25 short here. There we got actually 14 too many. Okay, but this is not actually what we want to see. This is everything. We want to see just what is open currently. So we got something called just a quantity left. Has quantity left. There we go. Okay, and now I go yes, true. And this now starts changing. Okay, so now I can see I've got some quantity left. Okay, so you can immediately start seeing what actually needs to go out the door. Okay, so I got accessory holders, 3 of them. I got adjustable benches. And I can even now say, well, on what document number is this? So I can go and add a document number at the bottom. It says, well, that accessory holder, the 3 of them is actually on these document numbers. Which means I can now easily go and identify exactly where this is coming from. Okay, now some of this you'll see it's called expense and GL. That just means you've got a search type that you've now selected in your actual invoice. Remember now, if you create an invoice, it's called you either do it against an item code, which is 4, or against the GL, which is 6. The guys that know Pastel will hopefully know what I'm saying now. But that tells you how to do it. But ultimately, what we've now created is a little register for us to see what we have to order. Now, immediately what I see is, okay, we've got 2 of them on purchase order. So I've got sufficient stock here for my 1 that's going out again. Well, and here, for instance, I've got 8 that needs to go out, but I've only got 4 on order. So there I've got a shortage. Okay, so that's just a way to actually, show you how ultimately you can connect your open sales orders to your purchase orders to identify what actually needs to go out the door, and secondly, what needs to be procured. And that's just, for me, a nice way to deal with data. Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Have a great one. Cheers, guys.